Chris, Jonathan here, hope you're well. Just thought I'd do this quick video to introduce the next task. This is not the next major task, hopefully this will be fairly straightforward. So what it is members of BNI, some of them have been in BNI for quite a long time, and when they hit a large milestone like 5 years, 10 years, etc., we give them a special piece of recognition, which is a pin badge which they wear, and it literally is a length of service pin badge. Unfortunately, BNI has never been very good at tracking this or alerting us to when we should give them the badges, so it tends to be a little bit sporadic. Sometimes there's suddenly a big focus on it, and then other times we can go a whole year or even longer and not really give many length of service pin badges out. And I want to fix that and make it much more consistent. So the way to do this, I think, is with this spreadsheet which I've kind of created. I've created this folder in SharePoint, which includes a working folder for you and then an actual spreadsheet. You'll probably want to make it an XLSM file, I'm guessing, but I've just created this to start with. And literally what we really want is a tab for each pin that could be awarded. So this one, for example, might be 5 years, and it goes up in 5 year increments. Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and we probably want a tab for 25 as well, because we've got some 22 year members in BNI, sorry. And what I really want to do is maybe have a dashboard as well, like the cash flow spreadsheet one. And the first thing to do is log into BNI Connect and to get the data. To get the data, what you need to do is, it's a really simple Connect report. Show you how to do it. It's reports region, and then length of membership report, second one down. Do not tick the display ribbon summary. If you do tick that, you just get a very simple spreadsheet which looks like this with no more data. So that's not much use to anyone particularly, although I'm intrigued who's been a member for 29 years, because there definitely isn't a 29 year member in Surrey. Anyway, so you go to Connect, you make sure both regions are selected, press go. You'll then get the usual summary, and as usual we need to export without headers. I'm going to save us the trouble here of doing that and just import the result of that over here. And this is what you get. It's by chapter, and then it's the one we're interested in is the cumulative length of membership. Okay, the cumulative length of membership. And there's really no need for the names to be in separate columns. We want one column. So we want to take this information and pull it into this spreadsheet. And we want a tab for 5 years, one for 10, 115, 120, 125. We want the full name, the pin that they are due or should have at the moment, and then probably one for length, just call it length. Okay, and that needs to be the cumulative length. So we'll probably modify this and refine it as we go along, but just to start with something simple like that. And then I want to manually be able to put in whether they've been awarded that pin or not. So let's take one, for example, here, Brian Cox at Camberley, right? So I know I've not given him a pin. So with that Brian Cox as an example, he should have had a 5 year pin because he's on 6 years. His length is, what is his length? 6 years, 11 months. So 6 years, 11 months. Has he been awarded? And when I have awarded it to him, I'll put a yes there, okay? So what I want to do is be able to press the refresh button, and it will go into Connect, get this information, put it in, or maybe rather than yes, I put 5 year, so that way we know what we've awarded him. And essentially, I want that information to update, but obviously this information to remain what I've entered until he eventually gets to 10 years, in which case all of this needs to be pulled off of here, go onto the 10 year tab. And that still needs to stay 5 year in the awarded column, because then that will remind me I've awarded him a 5 year one previously, but he's now qualified for a 10 year one. So fairly complex, I guess, thinking about it out loud. also want to, the other thing which is really important is some members believe they've been a member longer than what BNI Connect says. A brilliant example of that, if I can find them, is Alan James. Alan Davey, Norris, Alan James, there he is. So he, according to Connect, has been a member 17 years and 0 months. He firmly believes he's been a member for 20 years. So I'm not going to argue with him, because all this is about is recognition. So if Connect says 17 years, correct though that may be, we're going to put down 20 years. So what we need to do there is maybe have a manual override. And if there's a yes in there, so we'll put Alan James in. And that will automatically pull up pin 50. So you'll automatically work out pin is 15 years. He's been a member for 17 years and 0 months. And then awarded, let's say I've awarded him a 15-year one. But because I've put manual override in, I can now go in, I can put length is actually 20 years, 0 months. That then needs to automatically update to a 20-year pin. And then I can then go and just say it's been awarded. And when we press refresh, because that manual override's there, I don't want this to say anything less than what's there. Okay. That kind of makes sense. And maybe even put in a column for how much it's overridden by, so plus 3 years. Whatever you want to format that, but call that delta maybe. So that way it could put in the new information, and if it says 17 years 0 months at the moment, manual override of plus 3 years, we'll give it 20 years, and then the rest of it can be automatic. I'm thinking out loud now. So when he comes to his next year, this will say 18 years, and because we've got an override of plus 3, that will go to 21, and so on and so forth. So that should then calculate to 20, etc. I hope all of that makes sense. Giving you quite a lot of information there in a rather contrite verbal video, but hopefully it kind of makes sense. And then I think that's kind of enough for now. I think the only other thing is a bit of tolerance. So if someone's on 5 years and 11 months, or 4 years and 11 months, I want it to say 5 years. So a little bit of tolerance on there as well would be good, a bit like we did with the tolerance fields on the cash flow spreadsheet. So that gives you something to get started with, and ultimately I want a system that gives me the ability to know who I'm giving out pin badges to the following month, kind of thing, in one simple report. But that will definitely do 80% of the work what we've just described there. So I hope that makes sense. If you could crack on with that, that'd be really helpful. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate all you do.